Today, we're going to talk about courage, incredible skill, and the ultimate sacrifice. We're going to take a closer look at the life and the final, harrowing moments of Wing Commander Namansh Syal, an elite pilot in the Indian Air Force. This is the story of a hero's final flight.
You know, this single sentence from people who were right there on the ground, it says everything. It's a powerful testament to a pilot's deepest instinct, that unwavering commitment, even when facing something truly impossible. And it's that act of bravery that we're here to try and understand.
But to really grasp that final act of heroism, we have to go back to the very beginning. So, where did a pilot like Namansh Syal come from? What was it that shaped the man inside that cockpit?
Well, he was born in a small village in Himachal Pradesh, and he grew up in a world that was really defined by service. His father was a veteran of the Army Medical Corps, so that environment, one of discipline, of duty, that became the foundation of his character. It really charted the course for the life he was going to lead.
And that course, well, it led him straight into the sky with the Indian Air Force. But he didn't just join, he excelled. He was on a path to a truly exemplary career. So he was commissioned in late 2009, and his rise was just remarkable. He quickly mastered these iconic jets, like the MiG-21 and the really formidable Su-30 MKI. In fact, his skill was so obvious that he was chosen to become an instructor to shape the next generation of pilots. And then, he earned his place in the cockpit of India's premier fighter, the Tejas.
But see, it wasn't just about raw talent. His reputation was really forged in his discipline, in his calm precision. That's how he flew, sure, but it's also how he taught and how he led. And that earned him this immense respect, not just as a top-tier pilot, but as a mentor people trusted.
And of course, the man was so much more than the pilot. He was a husband to Afshan, who was also an officer in the Air Force, and he was a father to a young daughter. This family, they were grounded in this shared understanding of what service means, and they were the absolute bedrock of his incredibly demanding career.
It was this combination of personal dedication and professional excellence that put him on one of the world's biggest stages, the Dubai Air Show.
Okay, so let's set the scene. The date is November 21st, 2025. The mission? A high-stakes aerobatic display. The whole point was to showcase the power and agility of the HAL Tejas LCA to the entire world. All eyes were on him and his aircraft.
But during that demonstration, in just a matter of seconds, what started as a spectacular display of skill turned into a desperate fight for survival.
So, Wing Commander Syal was performing something called a negative G turn. This is an incredibly difficult and dangerous maneuver. So think of it like this. Gravity normally pushes you down into your seat, right? Well, this maneuver violently reverses that force, pushing the pilot up against their restraints. It demands absolute perfect precision, and it puts an unbelievable amount of stress on the aircraft itself.
Now here's the crucial part. He was attempting this at less than 500 feet off the ground. At that altitude, there is zero margin for error. Not even for a split second. None.
And in that totally unforgiving environment, the sequence of events was just terrifyingly fast. The turn began, but something went catastrophically wrong. The aircraft lost stability and just pitched into this steep, uncontrollable nosedive. From that low, there was simply no space, no time, no chance to recover.
And tragically, there was no ejection. This fact, it just confirms what the eyewitnesses saw. Wing Commander Syal stayed at the controls, fighting to save his aircraft right until the very end.
The crash sent absolute shockwaves through the aviation world, and it left a really profound and lasting impact on the Indian Air Force and the entire Tejas program.
To really get the scale of this, you have to understand the Tejas program's history. For 23 years, it had this incredible safety record. It had flown without a single fatal accident. I mean, that's a remarkable achievement for any fighter program, let alone one developed indigenously. So this wasn't just a tragedy, it was a devastating first for a program that's a huge source of national pride.
The numbers here tell a really stark story. In its entire history, the program had only ever seen one other major accident. This was the first, the very first, to claim the life of a pilot. It just underscores how rare and how devastating this day truly was.
So, in the aftermath, the Indian Air Force immediately convened what's called a court of inquiry.
Now, the goal in these situations isn't to assign blame. It's to meticulously, piece by piece, figure out the cause to make sure a tragedy like this can never, ever happen again.
The story of Wing Commander Namansh Syal is just a solemn reminder of the risks that are faced every single day by those who guard our skies. And it leaves us with a really difficult question to ponder. As we build faster, more agile, more complex machines, what is the true cost of pushing the absolute limits of sky and machine? It's a cost paid by courageous individuals, just like him.